What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be talking about what it means to be set apart as a man. Now, this is a concept that once you truly understand what I'm saying, your life will become much easier. And when I say your life will become easier, I don't mean that all of a sudden all of your hardships are going to go away. In fact, things might get more challenging. But what I'm saying is that when you start to understand that you as a man are called to be set apart, your life will start to develop purpose. It will start to develop meaning. You will start to feel like you are living in congruence with how you are supposed to be living in congruence with your values, with your morals, with what you stand for. And that, as a man, feels incredibly good. Even a life that has more suffering, but is also combined with meaning, with hope, and with purpose. Men will choose meaning, hope, and purpose with difficulty every day, besides choosing a life with comfort and lack of purpose. As men, and mainly as Christian men, we are living in exile, all right? We are living in the city of man, not in the city of God, as Augustine would say. We are similar to Daniel, who was living in exile in Babylon when the Babylonians had conquered Israel. And they removed the Israelites from their own land as a way of weakening them, as a way to take away their culture, to strip away from them not only their morals, but their personhood, their sense of duty to country, duty to their family. That's what the Babylonians wanted to do when they relocated a people group. So we, like Daniel, we're still living in exile. Even if you live in the United States, you're living in the city of man. And what that means is that we are in a constant battle against the world, trying to uphold our virtues, trying to uphold our morals, and remember our sense of duty to God and to family, all right? Now, throughout the entire Bible, God has always called his people to be set apart, whether it was through circumcision, certain holidays, or certain laws, or rituals, or even sacred practices. God's people were meant to be distinguished from everybody else, from the pagans. You see this in captivity with Daniel, where he was given all of the food from the temple. And he noticed that everybody around him was getting fat and unhealthy, and they were indulging. But instead of doing this, Daniel said, please, let me eat differently. Let me live differently. And let me show you, the officials, that I can be just as healthy, if not healthier. And so that's what he did. He lived differently than everybody else. And then the officials saw, hey, Daniel and the people who are living differently, they are healthier. They are more in shape. They are more better off. Their minds are stronger. They are functioning better. We are going to make everybody do this. They did not let the outside culture encroach on their values. So we are meant to be separated from everyone else. And this is an idea that we've completely lost as Christians. Even though as Christians, we are God's people and we are his bride. We are the church. Every man must make sacrifices to God. This concept is completely lost on us. We don't even think about, what kind of sacrifice should I make to God? Which one of my animals shall I cut up and burn and sacrifice to the Lord? The first fruits of what I have to offer, what should I give to him? We've completely lost all sense of this concept. And what I want you to understand is that most people try to live as closely to the world as they possibly can while still considering themselves to be Christians. Instead of asking, What should I be sacrificing to set myself apart from the world? Most people are scared to hold their beliefs firm because they are scared that they may break them, because they want to indulge in the vices that life has to offer, the vices that the world has to offer. They want to try to get as closely as they possibly can to living the degenerate pagan experience while holding on to their salvation. This is a problem. Even within God's chosen people, there were some people who were called to separate themselves even further. In the Bible, this term is called Nazarite. It comes from the word Nazar, which means to separate or to consecrate. And ultimately what this meant was abstaining from alcohol, not cutting your hair, or avoiding contact with death. People like Samuel, Samson was also a Nazarite. These people that were called to go above and beyond when it came to sacrificing their lifestyle in order to honor God, because that was an oath that they made. In the Bible, Cain and Abel were both told to give the first fruits of what they had to God, to offer it to Him. God wanted that. And I want you guys to start asking yourself, what am I sacrificing? You see, so many people complain. They say, I don't feel purpose in my life. Well, here is the secret that no one has told you. You must sacrifice in order to be granted purpose. Having purpose means sacrificing what you want to do for what you are called to do. Like I was talking about earlier, you can live a life of comfort, but you will find yourself void of meaning and purpose. It is through sacrifice and it is through difficulty that we find that purpose. In abstaining from things, in setting ourselves apart, that is where we fall into congruence with what God wants for us. Because God doesn't want us to be a part of the city of man. He wants us to be different. So ask yourself, what am I sacrificing? And you might be thinking, well, Brandon, what does this all mean? All right? Give me some practical takeaways. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit more to end off this video. What does it mean to be set apart in mind, in body, and in spirit? Well, I call on you to think about it this way. Sex and celibacy. In the midst of hookup culture, it is incredibly difficult to uphold the rules that God has given us. God said that sex and sexual experiences are sacred within the bonds of marriage. Our culture has completely normalized sex outside of marriage. Even in Christian circles, it has become incredibly rare to find someone who is a virgin. I myself, I'm a 24-year-old virgin. I've been celibate my entire life. This is something that I have felt called to uphold my entire life. This has been a great sacrifice for me. In a culture that looks down on what I am deciding to do, they say, why do you do that? You're so weird. That's so strange. Sex is just a part of life, bro. Like, do what your body wants. When your body tells you to do something, like, just do it. Like, it probably needs it. No, you must make sacrifices. Jesus didn't die on the cross so that you could do whatever you want to do in life. Jesus calls on us to sacrifice in the same way that Jesus sacrificed. He calls on us to be like Him. He tells us to pick up our cross and follow Him. Does picking up your cross and following Jesus sound easy? Of course not. Does it sound purposeful? Does it sound fulfilling? Yes. Does it mean dying to your bodily urges every day? Does it mean going against the city of man? Going against culture? Against what your peers think? Against what everybody around you thinks? That's exactly what it means. That's what sacrifice means in the first place. I personally don't take steroids, which is a very, very common thing in my world. I have chosen not to go down that path, even though it's very, very normalized in the world of bodybuilding that I am in. Because I ultimately feel like I am being called for something greater. I feel like I am being called not to do specific things, including drinking. I haven't had anything to drink in the past 3 years. No alcohol. I feel like I am called to go above and beyond, to sacrifice things in order to separate myself. And I would gladly sacrifice these things if it meant feeling like I was living with purpose. Originally, before I talked about how I'd been celibate my entire life on social media, I thought, this is something that I'm just going to keep private. Because if I ever do end up getting a girlfriend and, we end up sleeping together, then everybody will know that I'm breaking my oath. That I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That I'm not living in congruence. And I was scared about that. I was scared to basically set a boundary for myself publicly and in my own heart because I was nervous that I was going to break it. That means that I haven't truly established my virtues and my morals. If you cannot draw a line in the sand and say, hey, I am not crossing this. I am not going over this. This is how I am going to live. If you cannot say that because you are scared that you are going to break it, because you want extra leeway, you are wanting to try to be as close as you possibly can to the degeneracy of the world while still maintaining some sort of semblance of being set apart. No. You're supposed to be set apart, and that's supposed to be a good thing. That's supposed to be a beautiful thing. So there are a couple physical, practical takeaways of ways that I personally decide to be set apart with my body. I do not take steroids. I have taken an oath of celibacy till marriage, and I also don't drink, and I don't smoke weed. And I don't play video games. There are many other things that I don't do, even though I do want to do them, even though I would find them enjoyable and they would give me dopamine in the short term. I feel like I'm being called to put work in to help people. It's the reason why I am sitting here on a day when I could be out having fun, doing different things that people would find pleasurable, sitting on my couch, watching TV, eating some food. Instead, I'm here making this video. Do I need to make this video? No. Nobody's telling me to make this video. I really don't have to make one YouTube video per day. But I decide to because I am living in congruence with what I feel like I am being called to do. And living that out, even though it's more difficult, it takes more time, it feels so much more right. And that sense of peace that you get from living in that congruence and acting on it is what will make your life feel so much more worth living as a man. I personally feel called to be different in mind from other people by having a different mindset than everyone. Instead of saying, why is the universe out to get me when bad things happen to me? I just think God wants me strong. God wants me resilient. The challenges that I go through are a part of that. God doesn't want me lusting after women inside of my mind. He does not want me worshiping women's bodies. He wants me practicing thought control, God wants me to be disciplined with my thoughts. He wants me to control them, to harness them, to control my urges. Those are a couple of examples of what it means to be set apart in the mind. Now, I'm not saying that you can sacrifice enough that will ultimately make you worthy of salvation. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that a saving faith has works that back it up. And if you are not feeling the sting of sacrifice, if you are not feeling the sting of being set apart in a pagan culture, in the city of man, in exile, then it is probably because there are a lot of things that you are compromising on. Because there are a lot of things to give up. There are a lot of things in our society that you as a Christian should be saying no to. So set yourself apart. Ask yourself, how has God called me to be different than others, to operate differently, and start living differently? Don't be scared to live differently. So start asking yourself, what am I sacrificing? And how could I be doing better? How can I be making improvements in order to live in congruence with what God is calling me to do and with what my actual morals and values are? I promise you, you will start to become filled with a sense of peace. Make sure to drop a like on the video down below. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you guys watched this video all the way till the end, because it means that you do not have a super short attention span, and I really respect you for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.